Major support for Out to Lunch Acadiana is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. Support also comes from Wyndham Garden Lafayette.
From Cafe Vermilionville in Lafayette, we're out to lunch with Professor of Finance and Director of the award-winning Berken Road Reports, Peter Ricchiuti. It's business, Acadiana style.
Hi, I'm Peter Ricchiuti. Welcome to Out to Lunch. We often talk about business and creativity as if they're polar opposites. In fact, business is a creative enterprise. Every great business from Apple to Wal Mart stems from a great idea. And as with other creative endeavors like movies and music, the execution of an idea takes a team of collaborators. But the undertaking only becomes a success when all of the team players are contributing their individual talents towards creating the same vision. As much as business leaders like to stress teamwork over individuality with sayings like, there's no I in team, the fact is that vision is not a collective activity. The inspiration and vision that is central to creating a single, unified, successful business comes from an individual. The kind of inspired people who can have a great idea and inspire to lead others to execute it, frankly, are not very common. But I'm going to introduce you to two of them right now. Jason Koubi is the president and CEO of One Acadiana. One Acadiana is a 9-parish wide organization that promotes Acadiana as a place where business can flourish and succeed, and where business people and their families can enjoy a lifestyle unparalleled in the United States. Along with a talented team, it's Jason's vision and ability to implement it that's bringing noticeable positive change to Acadiana's economy. Jason, welcome Out to Lunch.
Great to be here, Peter.
Now, Blaine LaFleur is the founder and CEO of Stonewall Consulting. On the face of it, Stonewall Consulting is an engineering firm that builds machinery products primarily for the oil and gas industry. But that would be a bit like saying that Bruce Springsteen is a singer-songwriter. While it's technically true, it doesn't convey the impact that transforms Blaine's approach to his work and clients into something more than just tool-making. Blaine describes his mission as offering others a platform to succeed and find their purpose. Blaine, welcome Out to Lunch.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Jason, you launched One Acadiana in 2015. You brought together an incredibly impressive array of Acadiana business people, basically a who's who in Acadiana business, to help fund and implement your vision for turning Acadiana into an economically forward-looking and nationally competitive business region. What you're doing is more ambitious than the traditional aggregation of businesses like a Chamber of Commerce. It's something you might normally see at a higher level of operation, like, say, the State Economic Development Office. How would you describe the difference between a Chamber of Commerce and One Acadiana?
You know, Peter, it's a little bit like going from good to great.
Okay.
In a lot of ways, we're organized on paper like a Chamber of Commerce is. We are a membership organization that businesses join. We have a board that's led by those business leaders. But the aspiration of it is much greater than what you see from a typical chamber. And I think in a lot of ways, the change of name from the Greater Lafayette Chamber to One Acadiana really conveys that aspiration. This idea that we can take the diversity of our region, the strength and numbers of it, and make it something that inclusively, collaboratively pursues this vision to be one of the great regions in the South for business and for talent.
And one thing, a lot of parishes in the past have, all been fighting against each other. This, putting them together, makes a lot of sense.
It does. It makes a lot of sense, in part because there's strength in numbers, and that makes sense politically in terms of presenting a united front in Baton Rouge or in Washington. It also makes sense in terms of having a compelling message to a business that might be looking to locate here or expand here, if we're talking about the workforce, if we're talking about the economic assets, if we're talking about the quality of life amenities across 9 parishes, we're going to have a message that's more compelling, and we're going to have resources that are greater for getting it out. But it also makes sense because while politically we still have some organization, within the parish lines, within the county lines in other states, the reality for businesses like Blaine's are that the workforce, the customer base, the supplier base, the resources that you're drawing on are not constrained by the political lines around a parish. If anything, we're thinking regionally in a minimal sense. And most of the businesses in this area are not only thinking about Acadiana, they're thinking about a market in Louisiana, they're thinking about a market across the country.
Right.
In many cases, they're thinking about a market globally. And so it's important that we have a scope for our organization that is consistent with the economic reality that we live in, and that's why we created One Acadiana.
And Jason, what about, give us an example, a company's thinking of, they got a number of sites around the United States, and they've come to you. What are you going to bring, what are you going to show them? I think, like, you're going to help in things like site selection, or?
That's a big part of what we do, but that marketing and sales effort is really just one part of economic development, and I would argue that the part that's just as important and probably more important is the process of improving the product that you're selling. And so one of the things we have to do here in Acadiana, one of the things that we have to do across our state is to improve the product that we're marketing and selling,
And that
so
would
that
be
it's
like
more competitive.
workforce,
Yeah, that means investing in our workforce. It means investing in our infrastructure. It means having a reasonable tax and regulatory environment. It means investing in our communities so that you have vibrant places that offer a strong, compelling quality of life that makes it easy for families to choose that place and makes it easy for families to stay in that place. That's not just about having quality K through 12 options for people to choose. It's also about having a vibrant arts community, having high quality public spaces that people want to spend time in.
Now, Blaine, your approach to business is based on relationships and communication. People come to you with an engineering problem, but you're looking at a bigger picture. You're looking to solve more than their engineering problems. You see business in terms of personal relations, and you seem almost as interested in creating happiness as creating tools. I'm wondering what this approach to business looks like from the other side of the desk. How does a client who's expecting perhaps some more traditional interaction about a job, how does he or she react to your philosophy?
At first, a lot of people are taken back by it because it's not something they typically approach, because people separate their business lives from their relationship lives to an extent. They come in thinking that I'm just a tool. I'm just going to use an engineer as to fulfill a tool. I want to be a problem solver. I want to help them solve their problems. I don't want to just be a typical engineer. We want to be unconventional, and that our unconventional approach as engineers is that we're going to be relational. And most engineers, like I said, are used as tools, which is a great thing, but people are surprised to see that we will communicate and form a team with them, not necessarily just be an outside resource. We want to be part of your team whenever we solve their problem.
And that's a lot different than making a product that they're going to use. You're actually kind of looking out 5 years and taking a look at what their needs are going to be going forward, I guess.
Yeah, and for me, it's more about the relationship. It's not, I just so happen to be an engineer, but I would rather build a relationship and have a new friend than actually get the tool, because there's just more to life than making money to me. It's more about people to me. So
Well, right there's a good place to start, more than just making money. Where did your philosophy come from?
the philosophy came from a hardship in my life, to be honest with you. I was a business partner, had a business partner, and he was my best friend, and that didn't go as planned, or as I would have planned, but I feel like it was part of God's plan. But whenever I put a lot of effort and a lot of work into that business, and in one day, everything that I had worked for was gone. My friend, my business, my income, everything. And the only thing that stayed and grew stronger were my relationships and my friendships. So it flipped business on me where it wasn't about business anymore. Why was I investing so much time and energy into business when I should have been investing all that time and energy into people and relationships? Because they stuck around and grew stronger through when I had nothing. So
Yeah. Now, Jason, let me ask you about something, back up a little bit. In the United States, we've got a pretty low unemployment rate, but we've got a lot of jobs that a lot of people need jobs, and a lot of people looking to fill jobs. Is there a mismatch in this country, or what do you think it is? Because I talk to people in South Louisiana all the time and ask them what keeps them up, and it's always finding the right employees.
One of the things that's really clear is that, and this is particularly true when you look at some of the key skills shortages that certain industry sectors here in Louisiana are seeking, is that many high-demand, well-paying jobs require some post-secondary education, which is to say some education beyond high school. But they do not necessarily require a traditional four-year degree. And so there's an incredibly important role for community colleges as we think about getting the sort of supply and demand right in the labor market. I also think, and we're seeing this right now here in Acadiana, that there is a very important role in short-term, rapid retraining for folks that need to reskill based on changes in the economy. We're seeing that here right now in Acadiana and in other parts of our state with the downturn in the energy sector. We've got thousands of people who have been displaced from their jobs in the oil and gas sector, and they want to work, and they have the work ethic, the desire, and there are regions neighboring Acadiana, particularly in southwest Louisiana and the Baton Rouge area, that are going through an industrial construction boom right now. They're looking for labor, but
Lake
they're
Charles
looking for skilled labor, and they're not necessarily looking for folks for those positions that have four-year degrees. But you need some skills beyond what you learn in high school. And what we're finding, Peter, is that the funding mechanisms for rapid retraining are very limited. We've already depleted most of the money that's been, all of the money that's been budgeted for this in Acadiana. And as we think about improving our system of higher education and training, particularly for adult workers that are already in the labor force, we've got to do a better job of enabling people to recover from economic shocks.
You're listening to Out to Lunch. My guests are Jason L. Koubi from One Acadiana and Blaine LaFleur from Stonewall Consulting. Blaine, let me ask you, a lot of your products are used in the oil field. Obviously, there's been a slowdown. You're a young guy, so I haven't been through a lot of cycles, but you think we come back?
Oh, I think we definitely come back. I think like I was saying earlier, it's a good thing for people my age, because when we got out, it was easy. When I got into my first job and started, I became a business owner at 26 years old, and at first I was like, oh wow, I'm 26 and I'm owning a business. And then I remember coming home and telling my wife, like, this is easy. Like, I didn't think it was going to be this easy. And I'm actually grateful for what has happened. A lot of people will probably be upset with me for saying that, but I think it's kind of reset the market. I think it was really easy for a lot of people. And I think there really wasn't much competition out there. And because everybody could be successful. There was so much work, it didn't really matter. And so now I think it reset the market to where the people that actually put in the work and actually the competition is going to be there, right? So it's going to make it for a better industry, and I think it's on its way back right now. It's just not going to be the boom that it's not going to be back at $100 oil.
That's like we were in OPUS 14,
right,
I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Jason, you see it probably from a little different angle, but you've got a pretty clear vision. What do you see here? What do we need to see for these energy companies to stop laying off and start to go back to work, particularly offshore, which is kind of what runs this area?
Well, there's a lot of people around here who know a lot more about this than me, but I'll give you a couple of impressions. First of all, the price of oil determines whether whether a specific opportunity, whether it's a shale play or deep water. But the price of oil is enormously consequential for whether the economics of a play here or elsewhere makes sense. And so, the higher the price of oil is.
Is there a number that makes? Is it at $60? All the boats go back out in the Gulf. Is there some number that people kick around, or?
What I hear is, once the price of oil is consistently back into the 60 and 80 range, 60 to 80 range, that's going to enable a sustained recovery. And obviously, as you get north of 80. That only creates additional opportunity and additional bullishness. And Blaine, keep me honest here too, because you know more about this industry than I do. But I think the other thing that's very important to keep in mind is we're as Blaine can tell you, as Blaine demonstrates with his own company, this is an industry sector that's incredibly innovative, that is deploying new technology. New insights, and that is, changing the economics of what's possible at a given oil price. So what we're seeing right now is that the low price of oil is creating a great incentive for companies to figure out how to drill and produce in a way that is profitable for the lower price of oil. And so I think that the technology and the innovation of energy exploration and production are changing as well, and that is a fundamental driver of the sector as well.
One thing that always hits me, both of you, is that we've got a tremendously skilled workforce here in Lafayette, and if some of those jobs don't come back, and we can keep the people here, that we've really got something to build on.
Well, you're right, and that's exactly why, Peter, One Acadiana, working with some of our partners here and at the state level, have done everything we can. We're going crazy trying to figure out how to do more of this. We've done everything we can to try to capture the folks who have been displaced from the oil field here in the Acadiana area, enable them to connect with rapid retraining through partners like the South Louisiana Community College, and to encourage them to, during the downturn, take jobs in industrial construction in neighboring regions, continue to put food on the table here in Acadiana for their families and so forth. Right? Stay here, keep paying the house note, keep living with the dignity of work, so that we can keep you here, so that we can keep your family here, so that as the price of oil recovers, we've got the talent to support that recovery.
That was one of the things, Blaine, when we had this in the late 80s, early 90s, when the business came back. It was great. It was great, but so many people had left that it was, the phone was ringing, but you didn't know what to do with them. So
I see a lot of my friends not necessarily leaving. The guys that are losing their jobs, they're discouraged, and a lot of them are saying that they do not want to be in the oil field ever again. What I tell them is, don't just make a decision off of what's happening in the market. Make a decision like use this opportunity to really figure out what you want to do. Like, who do you want to be when you grow up? Like, you figure that out. And that's why I was saying I think it's a blessing for people my age, because when we got out of school, it was easy. It was like, okay, we know what we're supposed to do. Just go get a high-paying job. There are plenty of them out there. And for me, I didn't make a decision. I didn't say, okay, I really like doing this and this is what I want to go do. I just said, okay, they're paying me good money. I'm going to go do it, So now it's use this opportunity to figure out what you go be happy, and make a living doing it.
Jason, you got all these great young people. This is this is what you ought to build on. All the baby boomers are always, they're not as great as our generation. I think the young are pretty terrific.
The people here are awesome, Peter.
Yeah.
It's not just the food. The entire culture is just terrific.
Let's keep coming back to the food. What I think you could both talk about is management, and that's one thing I wanted to ask you about. Is you both have to manage folks. I mean, how did you develop your management skills? I mean, I guess we'll start with Blaine. What Where did you get your style?
It started with my parents, first of all. It started with my mom and my dad teaching me how to be a leader and stand up for myself. But then I think it really blossomed with Coach Robichaux. So Coach Robichaux is an amazing leader. And
So he taught you more than baseball? Or?
that's the first thing he says whenever we come in as freshmen, is that a lot of you guys here think that, are you here to play professional baseball, but I'm here to tell you that most of you won't. So I'm going to prepare you to be, for corporate America, I'm going to prepare you to be a man and a husband and a father. And so you're going to learn how to do that, and we just so happen to play baseball while we're doing it. And he's true to that. And so he taught me leadership and how to be a real leader.
Well, and you've taken some of that.
Was my model coming out. Is like I searched for. That's what made me start my own business and do all this, is because I always looked for that team environment. I always wanted to have a business that was more like a baseball team, right? Where you can have that team environment. There was competitive environment, but there was basically you own your own problems on the baseball team, right? There's leaders, but you are in control if you play or not, or what role do you play within that organization. And I didn't want the conventional organization. I wanted that competitive team environment, and I just used the things that Robe taught us in 4 years.
Yep.
So it's been awesome.
No, there was one player he was talking to where he actually wasn't correct. He was going to become a professional baseball player. Who was that?
Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah.
There's a few of them that I played with. Danny Farquhar's one of them.
He's kind of a short pitcher.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Throws really. That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. This is all stuff I was not planning to get out of this show. This is great. Now, but Jason, you have a kind of a different kind of management role, because you've got people on your staff and such, but you're also the leader of leaders in some sense. And face it, when you're at that level, you're dealing with some egos and things like that. How do you get everybody on the same page?
I think part of it is listening more than you talk, really understanding where people are coming from, which is an important element of leadership in any role. Understanding the person that you're engaging with, and being able to turn the lens around and see it from their perspective. That's incredibly important.
So you're not just the sage on the stage kind of thing. You're learning from them.
Part of what I believe is that we probably score charisma a little bit too high when we're talking about what makes for a good leader, and that's really not how I see myself. And so I think part of the reason why I wouldn't want to be the guy that's going on stage giving the inspirational speeches is because I don't feel like I'm a guy that's all that inspiring, and that I can make a greater contribution as a leader by trying to bring good people together and get them on the same page and build some consensus, and to focus on what's most important, and to go after that with great intensity and constancy.
Where did you learn yours?
I think part of it was having the good fortune to work for some people who were my bosses, who modeled behavior for me. As a young professional in my 20s, I had the good fortune to be around some people who ran meetings well, and who delivered difficult news well, and who had the professional acumen to manage an organization in a way that kept everybody on the same page and moving forward together.
What are your
Great
meetings like, by the way? Is it
Well,
like a food fight, or overly organized, or?
Well, what I try to do in general is I try to welcome everyone. I try to let them know that it's important that they are there. At the beginning of the meeting, I try to establish what we're trying to get out of the meeting. And I try to also define the reality that we're operating in. And I read once that the most important thing that a leader does at the beginning is defines reality, and the most important thing a leader does at the end is says thank you.
We're all inspired by the notion that one person can make a difference, but the operative word in that sentence is can. Although it's true one person can make a difference, not many people do. Jason and Blaine, you are two people who are both making a difference. Jason, you're working on a big canvas, your vision is broad, your plans are ambitious, and your hard work is inspiring. It's great to see the results beginning to happen, and we look forward to seeing many more successes in the near future.
Thanks, Peter.
And Blaine, although you've already accomplished a lot and built a successful company in a short time, I have the feeling that this is just the start of your journey. We'll look forward to keeping up with you and see where the business path takes you.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on Out to Lunch.
Thank you. It's been great.
And I promised you great food. It's always
Yeah,
nice work.
it is.
My guests on Out to Lunch today have been Jason Koubi. He's the president and CEO of Acadiana, and Blaine LaFleur, CEO of Stonewall Consulting. You can find out more about Jason and Blaine's past, present, and future visions by following the links on our websites, krvs.org and itsacadiana.com. Today's show is recorded live over lunch at Cafe Vermilionville in Lafayette. Cafe V is open Monday through Friday for lunch and 6 days a week for dinner, with a courtyard that sets the scene for fine Louisiana cuisine. The producer of our show is Grant Morris, our technical producer is Eric Merle, and our researcher is Ann Christian. Our theme song, On Quoi Monsieur Nice Guy, is written by Mitch Foreman and performed by Mitch Foreman and Andre Michaud. Our Acadiana business consultants are Pete Prados from Innovate Acadiana, Zach Barker from The Opportunity Machine, and Dr. Blake Escadé. If you want to know what we look like, and I think that always helps, you can find photos from this show on our website and Facebook page. The photos were taken today by Gwen Aucoin. You can get this show as a podcast. You can listen to past shows. You can keep up with us on all kinds of social media by going to our websites, itsacadiana.com and krvs.org. Support for Out to Lunch Acadiana comes from Wyndham Garden Lafayette, located off Pinhook near Calise Saloon. Wyndham Garden Lafayette is pet and family friendly with free parking and free Wi-Fi. Additional support comes from A-Biz Magazine and AcadianaBusiness.com, the essential information source for business decision makers throughout the One Acadiana region. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsacadiana.com and KRVS 88.7 FM. I'm Peter Ricchiuti. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the table here at Cafe Vermilionville for more business, Acadiana style, on Out to Lunch.
Major support for Out to Lunch Acadiana is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker, established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys in offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. Support also comes from Wyndham Garden Lafayette.